had a bit of a tumble. All right, so we're getting ready to go out today. Today's really like one of the first days that I've been able to get out with the Skyliner here. The weather, if it hasn't been terrible and cold, then I just haven't had time. So today the weather is extremely cold, but it's at least clear and sunny and pretty calm. So probably be lucky if it's above freezing while we're out there. So I don't expect to get a ton of time out of our batteries. But that's all right. We'll at least get to fly. Hopefully that will also keep folks at home, so I won't have to worry about other people being around, because obviously it's a little hard to find places that don't have a lot of people around here in the DC area. All right, we are here in lovely Lake Fairfax Park in Reston, Virginia. As you can see, pretty much got the entire place to ourselves. Specifically, this is the cricket field. You know, maybe not the most exciting place to fly, but it's a big ass open field without any power lines, which if you've ever tried to fly a drone on the East Coast, you know that pretty much if there is an open space, there's probably power lines going through it. So this place is pretty ideal, I think, to just do some flying. And there's actually even like a concrete path running through the middle. There's a little bit of a viewing area for the cricket matches. And I'll tell you a little bit about Fairfax, Lake Fairfax Park in terms of drone flying, is that it is pretty much the absolute sweet spot in terms of airspace here in the DC area. So over those trees is Hunter Mill Road, which basically that's the start of the DC flight restriction zone. So if you're not familiar, basically starting at National Airport in Arlington and going from a circle that has a 15-mile radius out from there is the flight restriction zone, the FRZ, where there is no drone flying whatsoever. You know, I don't know how closely that gets monitored, but my understanding is sort of if you're flying there, you risk the Secret Service and various other Homeland Security agencies beating down your door. Once you get past that 15-mile flight restriction zone, then you enter what is called the Special Flight Rules Area, the SFRA, which extends out to 30 miles from National Airport. So from 15 miles to 30 miles. And there, basically, you have to I think be registered. Your drone has to be registered. I don't think the weight limit matters, so you basically better have taken trust. Your drone better be labeled, but otherwise, and then there's a hard cap of 400 feet. So even if you are a 107 pilot and you're flying, and you're flying near a building, there are some buildings out here in Reston and in Herndon and out in Dulles that are pretty tall. But even if you're flying in near those buildings, where normally in a normal area you'd be able to go up over 400 feet as long as you're within kind of your 400-foot circle of those buildings, that does not exist in the SFRA. There's a hard cap for everybody at 400 feet. So 400 feet is as tall as it gets, but or as high as it gets for 30 miles out from National Airport. But the thing about Lake Fairfax Park is that if we go over those trees, we are in the flight restriction zone. So right now we are in the SFRA, so we can fly up to 400 feet. We don't need any special approvals, nothing like that. And the way Lake Fairfax Park is situated is that if basically I go to the other side of the park, which is actually probably, I don't know, like half a mile from here, over those trees, there's a lake and stuff over there, obviously Lake Fairfax Park. But then you actually hit the Dulles Class B airspace. So if you want to fly over there, on the other side of the park, you have to get land clearance, which, not a big deal, but it's just one more hoop to fly through if you just want to, or hoop to jump through if you just want to fly. But Lake Fairfax Park is right in the sweet spot where you are in uncontrolled airspace and you're not in the flight restriction zone. But if you basically leave the boundaries of the park, then you are in some sort of controlled or restricted airspace. So it kind of is nice because you can basically think of the park as like a free flight zone, and that if you're leaving the park, then you're starting to get probably into an area where you shouldn't be flying, or at the very least you need to have authorization before you fly. So Lake Fairfax Park is a nice little place to fly where you're pretty much going to be good to go. It's usually quite a few people here. Again, it is very cold. I don't even know if it's above freezing right now. So there aren't a lot of people out. Obviously the cricket fields aren't a place where I think in the middle of winter people are going to be congregating anyway. So we definitely have some good conditions to fly. It's a little bit windy, but not too bad. The Avata does not like wind, but we'll be flying it manually and just kind of goofing around, so I think it'll be fine. The question really is, can I handle the colds standing out here? And then how long are the batteries going to last, particularly for the Skyliner? But, whatever. It's about a half-hour drive out here. It's not too arduous, but otherwise, pretty easy place to fly. All right, we put about 6 batteries through this thing, so I feel pretty good. I've got more dogs here. Don't love being kind of hemmed in by dogs. I mean, it's not like they're like right next to me or anything, but so I'll probably try and get a couple of batteries through the Avata and call it a day. Been filming on my phone, but now I gotta switch cameras because now I have to plug my phone into the Avata, which is, you know, not the most convenient thing in the world. Had a bit of a tumble, which is fantastic. Everything looks fine. All right, so I am thoroughly frozen. So here's the, you know, damage for the day. Basically just destroyed what was left of my duct guards there. But otherwise, the Skyliner's good. The Avata, bit of a crash there from a tumble, yaw tumble, but overall, it was fine. I think I went through like 3 batteries on the Avata. I was getting like 10 minutes on those, which honestly, can you tell the difference with the temperature? I would say no. I could probably have squeezed about 3 minutes out of these 1300 lipos. So they're obviously just like well, they're putting out a lot more power, but they're a little more susceptible to temperature. So we'll get everything packed up in the Torval here, and then we'll get headed home because it is really cold.